My husband had an affair with my sister while I carried his child. I don't know when things began to unravel. Maybe I was just too focused on our growing family to notice. My name is Jenna, and I live in a small, quiet town in South Carolina. My husband Dylan and I had known each other since high school. I thought we had something real, a bond that could survive anything. When I found out I was pregnant with our second child, I felt so blessed. I believed we were building the perfect life. Family has always meant the world to me, and my sister Lacey was no exception. She's just a couple of years younger than me, and we've always been inseparable. Growing up, she was my shadow, my confidant, my best friend. Even as adults, she was the one I called whenever I needed support. She would often come by to help around the house, especially with Dylan working late. Lacey said she wanted to ease my load, knowing how exhausted I was in my last trimester. But then, I started to notice things weren't quite right. Dylan was getting more distant. He'd stay late at work, and when he was home, he barely looked me in the eye. At first, I told myself he was just stressed about the baby. But I could feel something was off. The way he acted around Lacey was different too. I noticed him glancing at her, looking away quickly, almost like he was hiding something. I didn't want to be suspicious of my own husband or my sister, but the thought crept into my mind more than once. One afternoon, I had a strange feeling that something was wrong. I was supposed to meet a friend for lunch, but I canceled at the last minute. Something drew me back home. When I walked in, I heard soft voices coming from upstairs. My heart pounded, but I tried to stay calm, telling myself I was overreacting. But as I crept up the stairs, I realized I couldn't ignore what I was hearing. I pushed open our bedroom door, and there they were, Dylan and Lacey together in our bed. My world shattered in an instant. After that day, I went numb. I left the house, stayed with my parents, and refused to answer Dylan's calls. My mom held me as I cried, but my dad was livid. He wanted to march over to our house and confront them both, but I told him not to. I needed time to think, to process the betrayal from the two people I trusted most. Days later, I got a message from Lacey, begging to talk. She said she had made a mistake and didn't mean to hurt me, that she and Dylan had just gotten close while helping me during my pregnancy. I blocked her. The audacity to claim that what they did was out of care for me was unbearable. Dylan, on the other hand, kept leaving voicemails. He apologized, saying he'd been confused and that he regretted everything. He even said he still wanted our family, that we could get through this if I forgave him. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The man I once loved was a stranger to me, and the thought of trying to make things right felt impossible. But then, something else happened. A friend reached out to let me know she'd seen Dylan and Lacey together in town weeks before I'd caught them, acting more like a couple than siblings-in-law. It became clear that their betrayal had been going on for much longer than I'd imagined.